Welcome everyone here to the Smash Sports Show right here on Smash FM. We're out here on the road in Reservoir, in Melbourne's north. But let's turn our attention to cycling in particular. Of course, it is awesome to have this particular cyclist on the show. Because last time we had her on the show was 4 years ago now. Of course, and she's done amazing things since then. Of course, her name's Sarah. She joins us right now. Thanks, Sarah, for joining us.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me on.
No worries. Well, tell us your amazing achievements that you've already completed in the last 4 years since we last had you on the show.
Yeah, it's been a while since we caught up. I think we caught up just after the Tokyo Olympics. Is that right? Yeah, so lots of things have happened since then. I think last year, 2024, was my best year. Well, it definitely was in those 4 years. I managed to win the Tour Down Under, which is a World Tour race in Adelaide in January. I joined a new team and they were incredible. Really supported me to get that win. So really started the year off on a high. And then another goal I was able to tick off was racing my first Tour de France femme. So that was really cool. It actually was not as much in France as I would have liked because
Oh,
half of it was in the Netherlands and Belgium, which is a bit too flat for me. But I really enjoyed the finish. We finished on Alpe d'Huez and I managed to get seventh overall thanks to all the climbing. And my teammate Justine Gekiera from Belgium, she won the polka dot jersey for best climber in the race, as well as winning stage seven. So that was just such an amazing week, and we're quite a small team, not super small, but AG Endurance Sudal, we're a world tour team, but not one of the biggest. So to come away with a top 10 overall, a stage win, and the polka dot jersey was just yeah, really beyond all our expectations. And then the last goal I ticked off last year was to race my first Elite Road World Championship. So that was a really cool experience in Switzerland.
start off with the Tour Down Under, as you mentioned, winning that. What did that mean to you at the time, and what does it mean to you now?
Yeah, at the time it was incredibly special. I mean, it still is really special because I had had a couple hard years of injury and illness, and also just not getting selected for races on my old team. I guess little fish, big pond kind of thing. There were so many good climbers on Movistar, and I just found it really difficult to get my foot in the door and be picked for races. So I felt like I was in good form, but I didn't have a way to show it. So then I decided, like with the team, mutual consent, we decided it would be best if we parted ways. Like they're a great team, just wasn't the best fit for me at the time. I needed more of a development home. So yeah, I left my team early before the contract had finished. I had a 3-year contract, so I left after 2 years and went to a smaller team. And yeah, to really see how much they all believed in me from the very first day I met them, that helped me believe in myself again. And yeah, I guess winning that race, it was more than just about the victory. It was, coming back full circle and winning on Wollonga Hill again and feeling like my old self. And just, yeah, really, yeah, just made me think all the sacrifices and challenges were worth it.
The other thing you mentioned was the Tour de France as well. Obviously, it's the most prestigious race on the cycling calendar that everyone knows worldwide. Competing in that, do you kick yourself and go, wow, I've actually achieved the ultimate, almost the ultimate goal?
Yeah, it's definitely cool to think I'm so far from wanting to retire, like a couple decades away. I won't be able to face retirement when I have to retire one day. But it is cool to think if I had to retire tomorrow, I've already gone to the Olympics and raced the Tour de France. They are two really big bucket list items. And especially well, I think, yeah, it's hard to say which one was more special. Getting picked for the Olympics it's harder. There are only a few spots once every 4 years. You need the course to suit you, and then you have to make one of those four spots. It's super tough. Of course, making the team for the Tour de France is also really hard, but there are a lot more teams and bigger rosters on each team. So it was easier getting picked for the tour, even though I wouldn't say it's easy because I had to train super hard and on Movistar I wasn't picked for any Grand Tour. So it's definitely hard and yeah, need to be right place, right time, but also a whole heap of support and hard work and a bit of luck. But yeah, the Olympics was harder and more of a childhood dream, but the Tour de France was a bit more surreal in that I didn't grow up dreaming of racing the Tour de France because there wasn't a women's Tour de France on TV when I was yeah, growing up racing. I could see the men racing the tour on SBS. I remember in the morning sometimes we'd put the highlights on. Um, but yeah, there was a long period where there was no women's Tour de France at all. And then when I was in my late teens, there was a 1 day race for the women during the men's 3 week race. So I did start to think, oh, maybe I could do that one day. But yeah, it's hard to dream of racing in the Tour de France when there isn't one at that time. So yeah, that was also surreal in that, okay, it wasn't the first Tour de France, that was in 2022. Sorry, the first revamped. There was one back in the 80s and 90s for women. It was actually a 3 week one, and now we have 8 days. But yeah, it was really cool to be part of this new movement, and to see just how much support we had on the roadside, but also in the media. So many messages from back home. It was really, really special.
You're actually the very first one who's done the Tour de France that we've ever had on the show. Do you get time? I know you're focusing on the race, but do you get a chance to sort of take in the scenery in the during the
No,
tour?
not at all. Sometimes I'll have someone message me, a friend, oh, that was such a really pretty stage. And I'm like, I didn't see anything. I saw the wheels of the riders in front of me and like maybe my handlebars as I'm like dying, I look down rather than up. But yeah, no, it normally takes either the photos we get after the stage. We're pretty lucky. We have photographers send them through very quickly. So sometimes I look at the photos and I'm like, wow, that's me, but I don't remember riding in front of like snow-capped Alps. Or it's in the weeks after the race, especially if you had a good race. Although it is a good practice to watch the races where you want to improve on. So watch your bad races as well. But yeah, sometimes I watch a replay of a race that went well, and then that's when I notice how good the scenery is, but definitely not at the time.
At least you've answered that one because I'm always fascinated with that. And then this you mentioned about Tokyo as well. That was the Tokyo Olympics, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Yep. How strange was it? Like, for everyone who obviously didn't get a chance to listen to our last one, how strange was it to be there with basically no fans at all? Because obviously it was during COVID time, and then go from that to being in the Tour de France a couple of years later when obviously you got people on the roadside.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm lucky in a way in that Tokyo, I haven't been to a second Olympics, but it was my first Olympics. So I wasn't comparing it to anything else. I thought it was incredible, but my teammates who had been there, been to London and Rio, they kept saying, "Oh, I'm so sorry. This is your Olympic experience. Like it's not good at all." And to me, I was, 20 years old, and I was just like, "This is awesome!" Like I thought just being in a hotel full of pro cyclists, we weren't in the village, but yeah, just being with the other cyclists, I already thought that was next level because I hadn't even done much racing as a pro cyclist in Europe. Just doing like, yeah, now I'd find that quite normal being in a hotel full of pro cyclists. But at the time, that was already like cool enough to me. I didn't need a village to make it feel special. And I am also lucky in that in road cycling, we were a bit out of Tokyo, as well as it being an outdoor sport. We actually had quite a lot of fans. The weirdest part was they weren't allowed to cheer, and they were very obedient. I have to say, if you told Australians that they could come to the roadside, as much as they liked, but they couldn't cheer, they probably cheer anyway. Whereas the these spectators were really, really good, like very supportive, but they made sure not to cheer. So we're just like going through the streets of, I'm not sure which city it was, or I don't know how to say the city name. I should go back and look, but they were all just clapping. Like it was the weirdest sensation because I've never ridden in front of people just clapping, no cheering. yeah, so that was strange, but still super cool. But I have to say, racing through Rotterdam, even though I didn't like the racing in the Netherlands, it's too flat and hectic for me. And I got lucky with the crosswinds because there weren't many, but yeah, I much prefer the hills. But yeah, Rotterdam was just incredible. Like we had so many people come to team presentation. Normally I leave like 5 minutes spare to get from the team bus to the stage to, you go up on the stage and wave before the race and sign on. But we had to leave like 15, 20 minutes because there were so many people just standing in the way, like there to support us and asking for photos, but little kids wanting autographs, big kids, adults wanting autographs. Like, yeah, it was just so cool.
We've had a chance to first meet you maybe almost 9 years ago now, 9 or 8 years ago, which was part of the when obviously you, Catalina, and Luke went to Wells at the time. Do you kick yourself now? You know, you went to the World Cup when you were a junior. Now you've been to Olympics, you've done the Tour de France. Do you kick yourself now, or have you had a chance to reflect on that?
Uh, a little bit, but most of the time I'm more just thinking what I want to do next and what can I do next. So yeah, sometimes it's nice to look back and think, oh, it's cool what I've done, but usually I'm itching to do the next thing. So yeah, I'd rather like dream about this year's Tour de France than think back on last year's. But yeah, in saying that, like times like this, having an interview, it is nice to think about the Tour Down Under again, for example.
Let's just answer my next question. What is next for you?
Yeah, I'm just coming back from surgery now, so I had to skip my favorite Aussie races, so Nationals, Tour Down Under, Cadels. That was really sad, especially because I only found out I needed the surgery right at the end of November, so I'd already been like dreaming of the races and training for them. But yeah, I had the operation the 3rd of December, so it's been 2 months now, and I just went out for my first slow and flat rides on the weekend. It was very nice. Normally, I don't like riding on beach road because I find it a bit repetitive and flat traffic lights. I prefer the hills, as I said before, but
Yes.
it really just felt incredible having the wind in my face, riding with my friends. Yeah, that was so good. So I'm going out again tomorrow for my third ride. I'm very excited. So right now it's step by step, more like rehab than training still, but and I'm also going to the Victorian Institute of Sport about 4 times a week. So they're really looking after me there with physio and trying to build up the strength again, as allowed because yeah, I've still got some restrictions. But yeah, it's hard to say what the timeline for recovery looks like, but hopefully I can go back to Europe in a few months and then yeah, I mean I was dreaming of the Tour de France until found out about my iliac artery endofibrosis and then I had a few weeks just Tour de France thoughts were on the back burner while I got through the painful part of the recovery, but now I'm already dreaming of it again. So hopefully I can still be there.
I would definitely hope you can get there really, really soon, especially hopefully the upcoming one in particular. So you just mentioned before about the heartache of missing out on nationals, which is the first year that was away from Victoria.
Hmm.
Obviously, it was over in Perth this year, and you mentioned about the Goodell Evans race, which I think just happened recently, and obviously the Tour Down Under as well. How painful was it to sit on I guess sit at home and sit on the couch, whatever, instead of being there and actually compete?
Yeah, I think the most painful part was, when the surgeon told me that I had this condition, which was such a shock and surprise. So I was super upset at the end of November, start of December. But then ever since then, it's kind of like the question before, I'm always focused on what's next. So yes, it hurt to miss my favorite races, but I kind of went through the heartache at the start of December. And
Mm.
by the time it got to January and I was watching the races, I already knew I couldn't race by then. So I tried to enjoy racing, watching the racing as a fan and as a friend and a teammate. Uh, yeah, nationals, that I definitely, yeah, I missed all of them. Nationals I watched on the elliptical, so at least it made the elliptical a little bit less boring because going on an elliptical is not as fun as riding a bike. It was still good. It was better than, I was excited at the time because before that I hadn't been allowed to do anything. So yeah, nationals was good on the elliptical. Tour Down Under, yeah, that was still on the elliptical. And then Cadell's, I went to Geelong and I went in the team car. So I followed the race with my director and watched my teammates from the back of the peloton. So yeah, all three different experiences. Yeah, I mean, I'm sad that I missed them, but not so much anymore because I'm just excited that I'm getting better.
For anyone that missed out on our last previous interviews, I'm going to ask these three in particular, so everyone managed to catch up with it, which is, where did the love of cycling commence? And then what does the sport of cycling mean to you now?
My love for cycling commenced when I was a very little kid. We had a veranda or deck going the full way around the house. So we didn't know anything about bike racing, but I used to race by myself around and around the deck. And sometimes I'd even get my mum to time me. I don't know why I was so competitive with myself, but I'd like race around those corners so fast. And I think that's when I learned to love the sport straight away, pretty much. And then I would chase my older siblings around, ride to school, and then yeah, started racing at the Brunswick Velodrome, and that's when I just fell head over heels in love with the sport. And what does cycling mean to me now? Everything. As I found out when I was reflecting just before the surgery, I was like, oh, this surgery better work because I can't imagine my life without cycling. I love it so much. It's so many different things from, freedom, exploring, traveling to so many different places. Also, like I really love the process of pushing myself, working hard, and seeing that pay off. Not always straight away, of course, but in the long term, if you work hard, you'll eventually see the results. And then the last thing, but maybe the most important, is the people I've met through the sport and just how amazing the community is, both the pro peloton, the riders and staff, and yeah, fans even. Like I've just met so many friends, but also the local community, my Brunswick Cycling Club, family, like the groups of mainly 40-year-old men that I ride with, like so many different people that I love so much, and I only know them because we all love bikes. I think it's so special.
Well, Sarah, you just um, fantastically segued me to my next question I was going to ask. And you mentioned about the Brunswick Cycling Club, which I had an honor to go down there last week and interview some of the cyclists down there. And but I really want to chat with you about two major people down there who do a fantastic job down there, which is obviously Dave Morgan and Cam McFarlane. What have you learnt from those two?
Yeah, Dave and Cam are two amazing people who have volunteered years and years and years at the Brunswick Cycling Club. And they've not only made cyclists faster, that's just 1% of what they do. They make people into happier people, into better people, into, make kids grow up polite, always remind us to say thank you to our parents for taking us there. Like a hug when you need a hug, whatever it is, they're just always there. I could message Dave or Cam today and they would reply without a doubt, no matter what problem I had. Um, yeah, they're both just so lovely, and they just really instilled in us how we should ride bikes because we want to, because it's fun. If you want to do something else that you love just as much or love more, then go do that and have fun. And often when you're having fun, you do it better anyway. So that's a bonus of loving what you do. But yeah, really, they've just instilled in us like have fun and be polite and respectful to the people around you. And I couldn't thank them more.
Know there was a night with the stars. I think back in December last year, with obviously yourself, Ruby, Luke. How special was it to give back to the Brunswick Cycling Club?
Yeah, I mean, I wish I could do a whole lot more than just go, eat yummy food and chat with my friends. It wasn't really giving back. It was more just a really lovely night. Yeah, Matt Keenan and Mitch Docker ran it. It was really good. I love going to clinic there as well. So I think That was on a Monday, the day before I went to the junior clinic. Actually, my two cousins, Felix and Oscar, now race at junior clinic, which is cool to see. I think Oscar's getting closer and closer to breaking the 30-second mark in the 1 lap challenge. And yeah, I always love going back. Yeah, seeing the little kids grow up. And another special part about going to clinic is seeing the kids that used to race clinic a few years ago running the clinic. That's something so special. Like we have 15, 16-year-olds. Obviously, Dave and Helen are still there, but yeah, some like clinic wouldn't be able to happen without those teenage volunteers. I think that's really special to see them giving up their Sundays so that little kids can have so much fun on the track and learn how to race bikes.
So two-part question I'm going to ask. First part is, when do you think you're going to get back on the bike, like fully, like full training? And then the second part is, what are the goals, I guess, from about, I'm assuming be halfway through this year onwards?
Yeah, I mean, there's not going to be like a particular date where it's like restricted training, unrestricted training. It's more just I'm building up step by step. So yeah, right now I've been doing 2-hour rides. Every 4 days I have a day off. Tomorrow I get to go for my first 3-hour ride. So that kind of thing. It's not really, a line in the sand as much as just slowly creeping up the volume and intensity. But yeah, I guess in a month or maybe more like 2 months, it will be looking more like the training I used to do. And then goals for the second half of the season. I think at this stage, I'm just going to be happy to be racing my bike really healthy and strong again. And so I don't want to, put too much pressure on myself when it comes to results. I think just getting back to Europe fully strong with 2 working legs would already be a huge win. Of course, if I can go for GC again, which is the overall classification in like the Tour de France, that would be really special because I loved doing that last year and was really surprised that I managed to come 7th. So it would be really cool to do that again, but for now I'm just being realistic, step by step. For now, just focus on the progress.
So obviously during this recovery you're in right now, have you had like messages from, other amazing cyclists that came out of the Brunswick Cycling Club and wishing you all the best?
Oh yeah, for sure. Like I said, it's real family. I've had so many people supporting me. Actually, Ruby, her boyfriend has gone through the surgery as well on the same day, with the same surgeon at the same hospital. So we were, we've been rehab buddies. So that's been really nice. I've been talking to him and to Ruby a lot about it. We're checking in all the time. Oh, you also up to this? Or how's your leg going? So yeah, that's been really quite coincidental, but made me feel less alone. But yeah, there's no reason to feel alone because I've been very lucky with so much support from around the world, really.
We'll finish with this two-part question. So what would be your advice to people that should get on the bike, and especially we're in the middle of summer at the moment, but obviously any time of the year, that should get down to the Brunswick Cycling Club?
Okay, any advice? Just come down with a helmet and be prepared to have a lot of fun. Doesn't matter if you feel like you're not strong enough or not skilled enough. Don't let perfect be the enemy of good. So just come along. We're very welcoming to everyone, no matter your age or ability, whatever it is. We're more than happy to have you there. So yeah, come along and wear a t-shirt and shorts. Don't wear a singlet just in case you do fall. Then you don't want to scrape your shoulders. But you won't, you'll be fine. Just pedal around the banks and yeah, you're going to have a blast. So just come along. And you can always come to watch the first time.
Of course, I'll finish with this last two-part question. You might as well give obviously your professional cycling team a bit of a shout out. And then the second part's a light-hearted one, which is who's the comedian, the best singer, and the best dancer?
In my team?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, not me. My team is AG Insurance Sedal. They're a Belgian team, and also associated with the men's quickstep team. So that's also a Belgian team. We have some really good riders, including Ashley Moolman Passio on the women's side, Remco Evenepoel on the men's side. the best comedian. Oh, it's hard to pick out one person. Maybe a bit of a weird answer, but our sports scientist, Martine, he's pretty funny, but like you wouldn't expect it, which makes it more funny. So I really like him. And then best singer and dancer. Well, Ushka Zigart is brand new to the team, and I'm still in Australia and she's in Europe. But I've heard that at the team camp she's been giving a bit of a talent show. So I'll have to say her. And I'm not sure for dancing, but normally if you're good at singing, you're not too bad at dancing. So yeah, she can be the winner.
Sarah, it is so awesome to have you back on the show. It's been way too long since we last had you on the show, and from all of us here at Smash FM, we want to wish you all the best with your recovery. Hopefully, it's a really speedy one. Hopefully, we'll get to see you back on the bike, competing at the world stage very very soon.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me on.
No worries, and that's Sarah that joins there. Of course, if we'll obviously, hopefully, we'll get to see her back on the bike, competing at the world stage very, very soon, especially hopefully the next Tour de France coming up, or of course, next year's, of course, summer of cycling here in Australia. There's more on the Smash Sport show right after this. Don't go away here on the 15th year celebration.
Hi, it's Sarah Gigante, and you're listening to Smash FM.